Good morning, Messiah. Glad to be here, and I can tell you something. After 3 services in a row, I can see the love that you guys have, and I can see where Pastor Reggie gets his energy, and it's come from all of you. You guys are a wonderful congregation. You demonstrate the love of God, and you are very kind to one another. So thank you for God for putting that spirit in each one of you. So thank you very much. My name is Mario Prada. I'm here because I started attending Malam, the Hispanic congregation, and God had given me the opportunity to share with them the gospel in different occasions. And one time I was talking to Pastor Reggie, and I told him how I came to know the Lord, and he found it to be interesting. And in his kindness, he thought that it was worth to be shared with all of you. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, just sharing with all of you how I came to know the Lord and why am I doing what I'm doing. So as I told you, my name is Mario Prada, and my life is like any other story of any other person coming to this country, trying to see ways for a better life many times. In my case, I wasn't from a rich family, but I wasn't from a poor family. I was okay. I was fine. I was going to school in Colombia, and then I got my green card. So it was kind of you take it or you lose it. So I took it. So I came up here to see how was life in the north, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I came to live with my sisters in Alexandria, and it was fine. They have a nice apartment and everything was absolutely fine up to the first 2 months. And then my sister came with the crazy idea that I needed to work. And I said, oh dear Lord, I never worked. Really, never worked before. She says, well, everybody works in this country. So you need to start doing something. But my problem was that I didn't speak in English. So then I started working on a fast food restaurant called Roll Royers. There are not that many of those now, but there's still some around. Then I went to work there. And because I didn't have any English, so then the guy told me that through a translator, through another person, that I needed to clean the tables and clean the bathrooms. And I understand cleaning, I understood bathrooms, and I understood tables. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. I was coming from a higher class by my own standards. So I said, wow, how can I do this? But I did, because there was no other choice. My sister insisted that I needed to work and provide some income. If not for them, at least for myself. So I started doing that, but I truly can say that I never felt more humiliated in my entire life, because I never worked before. And my first job was cleaning bathrooms. So, I felt horrible. So I did that for a couple of months until that anger, frustration started building up within me. And one time I cried to the Lord. I cried out to the Lord, and I really fell on my knees and crying. I asked him, if you brought me here to do this, I don't like it. So you gotta do something about this. Say, no? If you're here with me, you gotta show me that you're here. And I finished that prayer, and I blew my nose, and it was the whole 9 yards. It was really down to the floor. It was on my most utterly display of humbleness, loneliness, and despair of my soul. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So my sister was taking me to a church. So at that church, I met a person, Jim Bostwick. He was a good man. He was tall. Well, anybody's taller than I am, so then he's a tall guy. I'm not that tall. So he was a tall guy. He was white, he was blonde, military haircut, nice guy. And he talked to me for some reason. And he says, if you want to speak English and learn English, you cannot live with your family. You have to go away. So he says, I can take you to school. I didn't know who this man was. And I said, I don't have any money. And he says, don't care. If you want to go to school, I can send you. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So then I continued working on my wonderful restaurant, cleaning the bathrooms, for one more week. And then after that week, he went to my apartment, or my sister's apartment actually. And then he says, tomorrow you are leaving to Pennsylvania. You have to take a bus and go to Allentown. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, somebody will be waiting for you to take you to Coopersburg, to a school that is called Pine Brook Junior College. And you're going to study there. And don't worry about things. Everything has been arranged. So I say, okay, that sounds good. So then I'll go. You know? Anything, if I don't have to work, you know, I'll go. So I went, I took my Greyhound bus, and I went there. And then I studied for 2 years at that school. It was a small Christian college. There were about 200 people. And there was only one Cuban lady, and never talked to me in Spanish. Never. So I had to eat English, sleep English, live English. So in 2 years, I was pretty proficient. I learned a lot of English in those 2 years. And then I came back to Virginia, and I went to the church that I was going to meet Jim and to give him the thanks for what he did for me. So I went and I asked the pastor, and he says, I don't know any Jim Bostwick. So I said, well, maybe one of your elders. And he said, no, there is none elder called Jim Bostwick. So I said, let's check the attendance. Maybe this guy is coming here on a regular basis. So they took the attendance, and they say there is no Jim Bostwick in the list. So as far as we know, that guy doesn't exist, has never come here. I don't know what you're talking about. So I was really, really confused. I said, wow, I talked to this guy. He sent me to school. He went to my house. So I saw that he was flesh and bone, so he exists somewhere. So I went back to Pine Brook Junior College, and I asked them, I said, well, this guy that, sent me here, his name is Jim Bostwick, and I want to know, I was looking for him, and I want to give him thanks, but I cannot find him. Can you give me information about him? And they say, no, we can't, because we don't know him. Everything was arranged through the phone. He called here, he told us about you, he arranged everything, but we don't know who he is. So then I was really, really perplexed and confused. So in my mind, I came with two solutions. One, that he was a human being that saw my despair and gave me a hand and sent me to school, which it was quite acceptable, or that he was a messenger from God and he was an angel that has listened to my prayer or was sent by God when I really prayed, yes, 2 years prior, because I met Jim a week after my prayer. Since then, I've never been able to find Jim anywhere. To begin with, I don't know how to spell his name. I just say that it was Bostwick, but how to spell it, I have no idea. No? And I tried to find him in the phone book and different things. I could never find him. So, but at this point, after almost 40 years, it doesn't really matter. Because I think that he was truly a messenger from God that answered a prayer that I asked him. because at that point I was asking God to be with me. And then in Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them." Them to me was my fears, my insatisfaction with life, my own sins in life that were holding me back. Those were my them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So during these 40 years, since I finished school and I went to Indiana University of Pennsylvania for my upper education, I learned that I need to be strong and courageous. So I need to do my part. The Lord is telling me He's going to do His part. He's going to be with me. He will never leave me or forsake me. But I need to be strong and courageous and not to be afraid or terrified. So my message for me to you guys, and I hope it will touch your spirit, is that that God is going to do mighty things in our lives because His presence is with us. It's a promise that God not only is with you, but He listens to you. God inclines His ears and to hear your tears, your fear, your frustration, your repentance, your entire brokenness, like I was at that time. And God doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He will still hearing your brokenness wherever you are. And if any of you are going through a hard time, maybe you have to smile when your heart is broken and you feel like crying. When maybe your finances are pressing you down and the stress is mounting up. Maybe if you feel lonely in the midst of a multitude. Even if you feel that you're having a difficult time relating to one of your family members, your spouse, your children, or somebody else, and you feel that the situation is really, really heavy and is heavier than you think, I want to tell you something. God is with you, and He's right there with you, and He's hearing you. And He can understand your pain in this battle. Not only He is listening to your outcry, but is giving you to give you His peace. Not like the world gave peace, because it's always given by the circumstances. But He wants to give you and to give me and to give all of us His peace, a peace that underpasses any understanding. And that's the peace that He wants to give us. But we need to be strong and courageous. Not in our own strength, because we are going to fail. But we need to be strong and courageous in the Lord, with His strength, because He'll never get tired. He'll never leave us. He's going to be always with us. And if we try to overcome all of them, whatever that fear may be for you and for me, in our own strength, we can take it for a while, but we're going to fail at the end. It is only when we give them to the Lord that we'll be really, truly successful. When we start a beautiful relationship with God, then we'll be strong and courageous, because we'll be strong and courageous on His strength, not in ours. And through the years, I have learned that I need to do my part. I need to be strong and courageous in the Lord, not in my own strength. And He will take me places that I cannot even imagine. That's a beautiful promise that the Lord has done to me. He's telling me, I will never forsake you. I will never leave you. But you need to be strong and courageous. And the only way for me, and I hope for you, to be strong and courageous is to be always on the Word of God, in His presence, kneeling down like I once did, to hear His presence, to feel His presence, to acknowledge that He is all around me. And then at that moment, I felt like, hey, I can make it. And that's been 40 years. One thing that I forgot to tell at the first and second congregation, and I guess nervousness, is that He also cured me for cancer. I have been diagnosed about 3-4 years with cancer. I'm good. I'm clean. And all for His power and glory. He's a fantastic God. There is no other one. And I want to leave you with repeating, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. He will never do that because He will be with us until the end. Thank you very much, Messiah. Thank you.